Burn a flick. Flick, flick. Flick, flick, flick. Burn a flick. Flick. Burn a flick. Flick, flick. Burn a flick. Flick, flick, flick. Flick. Burn a flick. 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 Flick.
Hey, welcome to Burn a Flick. My name's Eugene, and we're joined with Jonah and Zach.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, and today we're going to talk about a movie by Denis Villeneuve. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
You are.
Okay.
I looked it up to make sure.
Okay, cool. Called Incendies. Also, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
That is correct.
Right? Okay, cool. Last week we talked about Raising Arizona, I believe, which we all really enjoyed.
Which you haven't seen already.
Which,
Please do.
yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. It's like it's a more well written Joe Dirt. So if you guys haven't seen Raising Arizona,
the rich man's Joe Dirt.
the slightly more
Refined.
middle class
Yeah.
working whatever Joe Dirt.
The working class Joe Dirt.
It is the actual Joe Dirt.
the Joe Dirt, yes, I like that, the Joe Dirt. All right, so I guess let me introduce this movie, Incendies. I believe it's the third movie by Denis Villeneuve. He did this movie called Polytechnic before, and before that he did another movie, and then he did a short before that. But like this is his third feature, and it's a French-Canadian production. The entire movie is in French or I believe Arabic. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's Arabic. I know it's set in what's supposed to be Lebanon.
Yes, it was. Well,
Yeah.
actually, which it is supposed to be set like Lebanon
Mhm.
because it's it technically its own made up.
Yeah, they
Middle
never
Eastern country.
they never say.
But it is based off Lebanon and the wars between 1985 and 1990.
Oh,
Oh,
so-
correction. No, 1970 through 1985. Correct. Correction.
Okay, all right. That I did not know all those details, but those are pretty illuminating details. That makes sense. Like, yeah, no, they definitely mentioned dates in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 70 through 85. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I had to do some more research to understand a little bit. Not that it was confusing,
Yeah.
but we'll get to those aspects soon.
So there is like, because I think any time jump movie,
Mm-hmm.
like it requires, it's easy to get confused in any time jump
Yeah.
movie.
Especially when it's kind of difficult to make out the different characters, like
Yeah.
the daughter and the mother.
Well, I was gonna say yes. I agree with that. I think the daughter is like a little bit more. She has more European features
Yes.
for sure. But yeah, they have like the same like hair color and like they both have the same sad face. Like everyone has sad faces in this movie. By the way, this movie's a downer. I didn't say what the premise was. Here's the premise. Our two main characters. I guess they're technically like three main characters. But the two main characters that we're first introduced to formally are twins. I believe it's Simone and Jean, or like Jean, I guess.
Jean.
But they're French, so that it's Jean.
Yeah.
Simon and Jean. And yeah, they're brother and sister. They're twins, and they just learned that their mom has passed. And they're talking to this notary guy. And the notary guy, I guess he's like the French version of like a death lawyer or whatever, or something like that. I don't know what extent notaries have in their duties for this kind of shit. But anyway,
I believe it was just actually somebody who knew her personally, and
He was also a notary. He was like not only a notary, the mom worked for.
mhm.
oh,
but
that's
they were
what it
also,
was.
Like they were seeing each
Yeah.
other as well.
Yeah, you're right. She worked for him.
Mhm.
Disregard my last.
Yes. So yeah. And the notary guy, he delivers per the mother's final wishes these two letters, and I believe she basically tells her children that, hey, your father is in fact alive, and you actually have a brother, and I need you guys to deliver these letters
Hmm.
to your father and your brother. And then the twins, they initially are not about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're shocked that their mom never mentioned any of this shit. They're shocked that their mom lied about their dad being dead. Um, and the brother is a little bit more mad than the sister. Jean, she eventually comes around to the task at hand.
Yeah, which I think we get thrown into in like when it gets to her part in the movie, where she doesn't talk about she's going to do this. She wants to,
Yeah.
but didn't say she's going. Like how you said the brother Simon, right?
Yeah.
He was mad about it.
Mhm.
He's mad about his mother. I think it's mostly because she said that when now she's dead, she wants to be buried face down, naked, with nothing.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that is not in a shallow grave,
She had all these very sad and depressing requests for her
Which-
death,
which then
for her how her death is handled. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. Which then irritated her son,
yeah,
and he said, "I don't care what she wants. She's gonna have a normal burial."
okay, yeah.
Which then gave that weird thinking. Well, I mean, I'm kind of on a side here, but don't you want to respect the dead person's wishes here,
Mm-hmm.
especially your own mother, regardless of how strange it might be.
And outlandish and like unconventional.
Well, I think also both Jean and Simone,
Mhm.
I think they're on like different levels of grief at that point too.
Okay.
You could tell that Simone was definitely on that anger level and
Yeah, not exactly like a little
Mhm.
bit of denial.
wasn't. Mm-hmm.
It seems like would we say that she was in denial?
No, he's saying Simon was
was-
more in denial
Oh yeah, so
about
Simon
the
was
whole
in denial,
fucking situation.
but not angry, but maybe.
Oh,
in
he was
between.
definitely angry. He's
Mhm.
both.
He's
Those
like in
things.
between?
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
both anger and denial
And what about
at the same
her?
time. I think Jean seemed more accepting. She was still sad
Of course, yeah.
and like kind of weirded out by.
But
the
she wanted to like
situation.
respect her mother's last wishes and like, okay, I got to do this to pay respects for my mom.
I think she was also like super curious
Mhm.
about like this whole side of her mom and like the brother and the dad. It's an interesting mystery. So like that's the premise, and it gets dark.
It gets pretty dark.
Definitely.
Yeah. By the way, like we talk about everything in this movie. We're gonna know. So if you haven't seen it, then just you should probably watch it before we talk about it. But yeah, this is your spoiler warning.
It's probably why we tell people in the episode before to this is the movie we're watching next week. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
watch it. and
exactly.
You listen to this. It's your own fault.
Yeah.
Also, content warning. There'll be talks of graphic content such as sexual assault and rape.
Yeah.
And
Um,
and the slaughter of
And
children,
genocide.
genocide.
And yeah.
It's your, I wouldn't say basic war drama, which technically it is regarded as that, but it is me saying the basic is kind of a
Yeah.
rude to say. It is a war drama, and the aspects of both those
Mhm.
categories are definitely seen in said film.
Yeah. So I do this a lot with movies I watch. Like I read up on like other reviews and like what other people are saying about it.
Mhm.
Just to get a sense of like what the general consensus is about this movie. And from what I could tell, most publications they thought that the dramatic aspect was overall like quite good.
mhm.
The movie's very good at like telling you what the characters are feeling, and the sadness and the anger and like the shock and just like it's very palpable. Um, Villeneuve, he takes his time with his shots, which if I were to be honest, the second time viewing, at some points it kind of hurts him because I feel like the movie at certain parts kind of dragged. I understand that he's trying to leech or draw as much from a scene as possible, but I don't think every scene needs to linger as long as it did.
Mhm.
Obviously, there are some shots that did linger that are fantastic. Specifically, you guys obviously remember the bus scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd talk about that.
Tense.
Yeah. Just some context. The Nawal, which is the name of the mother, Nawal, she is riding in a bus. She's riding to, I believe, Duressa, some kind of city.
She's trying to go south.
Yeah.
Is what she mentions to be. But yes, Duresha.
Duresh, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she kind of like takes her Christian cross off. She wears like a cross necklace. She takes it off. She puts her hair in like a hijab, I believe, to hide her hair. And then she boards this bus because it's implied that this bus is like Muslim.
Yes. Because during the time there's the war between Christianity and Islam.
Yeah, Christians and Muslims, in that area.
So she doesn't really know where anything stands because there are people who are killing those
Yeah.
who are, but we'll get there.
So she's riding this bus and she takes a nap and she wakes up and the bus is stopped and they're surrounded by these like terrorist looking dudes in like masks and shit, like covers for like their faces. They look like terrorists. They look like
I think that's the that was the Christian outfit.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. It was the radical Christians who were basically itching to kill some innocent people.
Essentially, it's
Yeah.
like what people think America's like.
They shoot up the bus, and there are like a handful of survivors in the bus, and then they start pouring gasoline all over the bus, and then Nawal realizes, hey, I should probably not be here.
She was like, wait a second, I'm like not to laugh about it, but hey, wait a second, I'm not one of these.
Yeah, so, yeah, she like comes out of the bus and she's yelling like with her cross in her hand. She takes it out of her pocket or whatever, and she's like, "I'm a Christian. I'm not part of this. I'm a Christian." And then they're like, "Okay, sure." Like they don't even look like they care. They just don't. Okay,
Oh,
sure, whatever.
Okay, you claim our
Okay.
religion, good. And then she says,
Oh yeah, and then there's a little girl there too, and then she looks back and like there's the little girl and the mother of the little girl still in the bus.
they're quite obviously holding each other.
Yeah, and they're terrified. And Nawal just makes like a crazy snap decision and she's like, "That's my daughter." And then I think it's very strange because like on one hand it makes sense, but like I don't really understand because like she could have also said that's my sister, and like she could have just like did all that, but
Easily.
very easily. That's my sister and that's my niece. They're also Christian, and like she could have said that, but she only went for the daughter. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but anyway,
Maybe it was just a thing of quick thinking, and
Yeah.
maybe smaller is better, and doing the whole package might be a little suspicious.
okay, yeah.
She was also on a mission to find her missing son.
I
So I think
also
that-
felt
Yeah, I feel like that had something to do with it, and her saving that child was like a partial accomplishment of that mission that she was already on.
Yeah.
that's how I kind of interpreted it.
Mhm.
Like she went on this whole trip to find her son, that she gave up, and her son was supposed to be at this orphanage, and the orphanage is like destroyed.
Mhm.
So she's super sad about that. And then she's on this bus ride back, and then she's in this moment where she can save a child, and I feel like that's why she went for the child. She's like, I need to save a child because I couldn't save mine. And I kind of felt that played into it. It's not clear, which is really interesting. Like, it leaves it open to interpretation.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But yeah, the whole point we're talking about the scene is afterwards. So she pulls the girl out, but then the girl, she's like, "No, I want to be with my mom." She doesn't know what's going on. She's a little girl, and she's freaking out. She just wants to be with her mom. So she breaks away from Nawal's grasp, runs back to the bus, and one of the like Christian radicals just pulls out a gun and shoots her. Anyway, they set the whole thing on fire, and there's this amazing scene where like she is just kneeling on the ground and there's flames behind her of the bus, and I thought that shot, like of anything else in this movie, that shot is like the poster for this movie, I feel like. So talking about cinematography, that scene like is seared into my brain.
It's a gripping shot
Yes.
because you see. What do you see? Like if you didn't know that scene, what do you assume? Say if you didn't see that scene, you saw the movie and maybe that was the poster. What do you assume? Yeah, you know it's a war movie, but you don't know that maybe there's a city on fire, or maybe there's just a fire and she's praying. I don't know, but and then I don't know. It feels though I would assume that it's just a war movie and that she's just maybe not even the main character.
Yeah. I think at that point in the movie, I think that's like the point where she started to lose hope on finding her son.
Absolutely.
Because she just found that broken orphanage. She sees this war-torn scape that, she's come back to. And there's already rumors that the orphanage that she was heading to was already taken over by these Christian radicals. So, and what further on, she meets with a commander.
She joins the other side
she joins the other
because
side.
she just gets super angry. And like the transition is really like they don't spend a lot of time.
No, it's almost instant.
Yeah. Like the next scene is her being the tutor.
Yeah.
I think.
I lose hope. Now I want in.
Now I am a secret agent.
Can we revert back real quick? Obviously, there's a bus scene, and we segued there in a way, but obviously it's all the same movie. Where she was going there, we all know that she's looking for her son.
Yes.
The reason why she's looking for her son is something we want to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. So near the beginning of the movie, we find out that Nawal, the mother, she fell in love with I believe, a Muslim refugee named Wahab. And they
call him a traitor.
And and they try to run away, and then like her brothers are like, nah.
Not happening.
Instantaneously.
I know.
Just like
no fanfare.
Nothing at all. Just immediately the guy gets no lines at all.
No.
We're pregnant, and then I don't care. Boom, shoots him.
Yes.
Right in the head. And that's it.
That was on site.
It was on site. No, there was nothing. And then there she is. She's just shocked. There's no crying. She cries a little bit, but she's just shocked. Like, I can't believe my child's father is now deceased instantly. There are a lot of aspects that are just fly right through.
I think that helps the movie because like it makes it less like Hollywood drama, because I feel like Hollywood drama, like it would be like a big emotional scene, but like here the emotion is like it's like buried and it's festering and it's like destroying your soul inside.
As a Hollywood drama?
Oh no, as opposed to like a Hollywood drama, which would be more, it would wear its emotions more on its sleeve.
Oh yeah.
As opposed, like you said, like he just dies.
I think it's more realistic too, because
yeah,
people in real life they usually don't have last words or like final. Yeah.
And then after that, we go to the scene where she's back with her mother, and her mother is essentially just bombarding her, saying, "You're stupid. You're an idiot. I can't believe you. I can't believe you would do this to me."
She says, like at one point, like, "Should I fucking kill you?"
Yes, I should kill you. You what? Do you want to die?
Like this is it.
This is motherhood. This is a great mom.
As off-putting as most of those words were, I think a lot of it came from love, because she didn't want to see her daughter pushed away or sent away.
Because they were about to shoot her too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then the mom just comes over and they're like,
"Yeah, I'll take care of it."
It's like she wanted her. She had no education at this point, right? She knew nothing.
Yeah.
She didn't know how to read, but her mother wanted her to have a life.
Yes.
So we go into the back that her mom says, "You're gonna stay with me until you have the child,
Hmm.
and we will. Then you are going, and I'll take care of you. Then you're going to school, but then we're gonna put your child in an orphanage."
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think like the fact that this whole sequence is so early in the movie, um it kind of introduces you to the culture, and it also introduces you to the tone of the movie. Like this movie does not hold back, and this is the culture that we're in, and get ready cuz we're only like 20 minutes in the movie.
Mhm.
I know.
um Speaking of the beginning, I want to ask you guys about the Coldplay song that plays right in the
Oh
beginning
yeah.
with
Oh, but it was in. It was a little bit of. It wasn't completely in English, was it?
it was Coldplay. It was Coldplay and it was in English. They just sing super slurred.
Oh yeah.
Tom York, he has a very he yeah, he has a loose
My
tongue.
bitch
Yes.
blue.
But yeah, like what I felt that normally a movie set in like the Middle East with like a Middle Eastern conflict, it doesn't normally have like this alternative rock sound, but like the director decided to do that. Uh, you guys have thoughts on that?
Are we asking if there's a motif behind
Yeah,
that?
because like I'm not sure like what it's supposed to
It-
mean.
The movie partially took place in Canada, so maybe
Ah, that's the Canadian influence.
Canadian
I don't know if Coldplay's Canadian.
They're
I thought
they're
from
British. They're British.
Seattle. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought radio is British.
The
Oh,
other
did I say Coldplay? Have I
Yeah.
been saying Coldplay this
Oh,
entire
it is
time?
Radiohead.
I've been saying Coldplay this entire time.
Oh, I didn't catch that myself. I'm
I'm
like,
s-
wait a second. My
You're
entire
right.
time, I'm like, wait, it's Coldplay.
No, I did say Tom York though. Tom York is Radiohead. I fucked up tremendously, and I have been saying Coldplay when I really meant Radiohead.
All right, everybody.
I
So
think Radiohead's Canadian.
Oh God, I should just
They're gonna
slit my
hate-
own wrist right now.
honestly, you're
I-
never
I'm-
gonna go to any other concerts ever again.
I'm super embarrassed that I mixed up Coldplay and Radiohead. Yeah, no, it was Radiohead. Tom York is the lead singer of Radiohead. Jesus Christ.
The Benz, man. That's what you have. Also a Radiohead album.
But yeah, like when I first watched this movie, like I don't remember the scene where it happens. I don't remember like the whole like hair cutting, the kid looking at the camera. I forgot about that like by the time I was halfway into the movie. But I remembered the song because
Oh.
Radiohead comes back in later on in the movie. I forget where, but like they come back in.
Are you talking about the scene where the mother is tattooing the foot of the child with the dots to
Yeah.
verify? So if you ever see him,
Uh-huh.
you'd see this is your child
Yeah, and in the beginning, like
for hope.
there is a shot of like the kid's feet, and like one of the kids has the three dots, and then the camera comes up and like this kid is getting his hair cut. He looks super mad, and he's just looking at the camera, and it just zooms in on him while Radiohead, I almost said Coldplay again, while Radiohead is playing. I just thought that was so interesting. Very interesting choice, because normally like I guess the stereotypical soundtrack to like a Middle Eastern drama would be like the call to prayer, like voice, and like that's just like the signature sound of like what Hollywood thinks, I guess, Middle Eastern dramatic music sounds like. I don't know.
It
Hollywood.
sounds like Radiohead,
Yeah, yes, it sounds like Radiohead.
obviously. Uh, so then where do we go from here now?
I guess we could talk about the twist.
Oh,
And like you could argue that the movie has like
A couple of them.
almost two twists.
it's more. It's usually one more than normal movies do. At least one more than M. Night Shyamalan usually.
And going back to what I originally said about like what I read about critics, some people didn't like the twist. They thought that it was too contrived. They thought that like there's no way like that's too coincidental, and like the fact that she would meet him again like at a pool, like the chances of that happening are too crazy, like, and it just took people out of it. Like people didn't find it realistic, and a lot of these people who like complained about that, they said that it's a shame because the rest of the movie is so good, and the ending kind of spoils it with its like highly unlikely, coincidental
Meaning
things.
a Deus Ex Machina, where
I don't think it's a Deus Ex Machina.
you don't think so? What?
Deus Ex Machina is like,
The issue is resolved here because hey, it's obviously from. Oh yeah, true.
what?
Oh, Deus Ex Machina is a type of like movie connection where there's an issue and it's immediately solved
Yeah, it's a
through
plot
some random.
device. Yeah.
So I guess I guess I'd say I'm wrong.
There's a lot of coincidences. I'm not gonna lie on that one.
There-
There's quite a bit of
I
coincidences.
think afterwards, after I like read like what these other people are saying, like I could see where they're coming from. However, when I was watching it, like I don't know, I bought into everything. I think some people are a little bit more can take that step back and look at the plot with that kind of eye. But if I'm invested, like I will believe anything. Yeah.
No way.
If I'm invested, like they could be like, oh, like this is happening and like this crazy thing also happened, and I would just like be looking, nodding my head, yeah, I'm in this.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's almost like a extremely well produced, made daytime drama. That's how coincidental it is. But it,
All in
like,
2 hours.
yeah, I felt like, oh man, like at the edge of my seat. And the first twist was the first twist. So the mother was in prison.
Yeah.
For assassinating a high-ranking official, high-ranking
Yeah.
Politician.
Oh yes.
And then she goes to prison for that. And while in prison, there's this torturer,
Abu Tariq.
And in prison, he tortures her, and she doesn't give up any information. And then he proceeds to rape her.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out she's pregnant with his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to be led to believe that that's the brother, that's the missing brother.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was pretty clear to see that that was going to be the twins. That was going to be Simone and Eugene. And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. I guess the twist.
Yeah.
But then, obviously by the end of the movie, it's like,
turns out
he was the dad and the missing brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's wild. Like, I remember being like, oh my God.
Yes. No, me too. I was stupid. I was really stupid. I didn't figure it out till the sister gasped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even when the sister gasped, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm the product of what?
Yeah. What does 1 + 1 equal?
And because like he kept
Somehow
saying like
me?
1 + 1 = 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he asked her like, why does it equal 1? And I'm just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then obviously like later on you realize, oh, like 1 + 1, like they were looking for the brother and the dad, so that means they're looking for two people, right? Obviously, 1 + 1 = 2, stupid. But obviously what happens is, hey, actually your brother is your dad.
Which
So,
is
wild.
not the most wild thing I've seen in a movie for a twist. We all know that one of the biggest twists in movie history would probably be Old Boy.
Old Boy.
We'll
talk about
we'll
Old
talk
Boy
about Old Boy.
at some point.
But that I'd rather not talk about it. I think that's something movie that should
it is
people to hear
very
it.
old boy ish.
that in this
Yeah.
scenario, yes.
I think in Old Boy, like they also kind of build towards a twist because there is a mystery.
But
And-
that twist I literally would not have guessed
No,
in a
me
million
neither,
years.
Me neither.
That's
Anyway,
why we're not even
let's
talking about it.
stop talking about it. Jonah has not seen Old Boy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the whole Old Boy twist, like
Yeah, and if we want to go back to like even like before Old Boy, you could go way back and say, hey, this is very much like Oedipus, sort of, because like Oedipus, not really killing the father part, but fucking the mom part.
yeah.
And
I think this guy knew that
No,
he
No,
didn't.
he did
No,
not.
right?
he did not.
He had no idea.
He had no fucking
So-
clue.
That's weird. How long?
Did he not know?
No, how long had he been alive at this point? Like what I'm saying. So
'Cause
you
she was
didn't
in
realize.
the prison for 15 years.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh. Fuck.
So yeah, like what? When Simone finally arrived in what's this fictional fictional Jordan?
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He shows up late.
he meets up with like this this private detective,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they take him to this warlord,
Mm-hmm.
and this warlord gives him this whole backstory on their missing brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you find out that the brother was actually like picked up by the faction of nationalists.
At the
That
orphanage.
destroyed the orphanage.
Yeah, and that's actually the scene in the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And his head's being shaved.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe he was putting all these timelines in different orders like that just to
So,
just to set up all the twists and everything?
yes,
Right?
but also not really him, because this movie is based off a play,
Mm.
and Denis, like, he coordinated like very heavily with the original playwright of this play, and in fact, the playwright, like, he didn't even like give like the bottom line okay to do this movie until he felt that Denis understood how he wanted the movie to go.
Mhm.
So like Denis was like, I want to do this movie, and the guy initially was like, no,
So
this
this
is
guy-
my play.
This is my play. This is my movie.
Yeah.
But I'm the director though.
And then Denis was like, all right, I want to do it respectfully. How do you want this to happen? And then the guy was like, all right, here's what I want. And then he fucking had everything that he wanted laid out. I want this sequence, that sequence, that sequence in this order. We want to do it this way. And then Denis was like, you got it, boss. And then he just did it exactly how that guy wanted it. And that's the movie.
I guess they really wanted to steer clear of the whole beginning, middle, end thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then, now it's just a regular movie.
Yeah.
Now it's too dramatic.
It'd be nothing but drama. There'd
Yeah.
be no twist. There'd be
Mhm.
no.
Yeah, it'd be too dramatic. And then that, even though at this point it's obviously it's for entertainment, but
Yeah.
at what point is it entertainment? What I mean by that is, hey, this woman's going through the
Yeah.
worst struggle.
Oh, no,
I'm glad this makes you happy to watch.
I don't think this movie is
Meant to be entertaining. No.
normal entertainment. Exactly.
Is it like a niche type thing?
No, I think this, like, well, a lot of movies fall in this category. Like, they're meant to be art. Like, it's not meant to like tingle your senses. It's meant to make you think.
Very true.
And
Think or
like,
feel some sort of way.
yes,
That's right. I mean, I look at that painting up there. I mean, it itself is art. It reminds me of things.
Very bold, very brash.
yes, bold,
Bold and
bold
brash.
and brash.
I have a bold and brash.
From SpongeBob.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. Anyway,
But yeah, you're right. A movie is just a painting, but that moves. Obviously, why it's called a motion picture.
I kind of felt that the way the movie ended, it felt a little more rushed than I wish it was.
I think it's Hollywood.
Okay, you think so?
Without a doubt. I think everything has like time constraints and
Would this movie be considered its own independent? But then again, it's a feature.
It is an independent film. Yes, it was not funded. It was funded by a bunch of Canadian. It's a French
Producers,
Canadian production. So like,
Mhm.
yeah. I'd say like in terms of production, Hollywood didn't have a lot of say, but obviously with the distribution,
Mhm.
it was nominated for best foreign flick. It was Canada's entry into that category for that year, which I believe it was like 2011 or 2010.
2011.
2011. Thank you. I really want to talk about the ending because I really liked the message at the ending. Basically, she says that, you know, Abu Tariq, my son, my torturer, was born of love
Mhm.
because like she loved Wahab.
Mhm.
And then he grew up to be like basically an object of hatred,
Mhm.
hatred and wrath. And her twins, on the other hand, they were born of hatred and wrath, but they grew up with love. So
Mhm.
like I'm not sure what exactly the message is here, but that kind of like crisscross like perspective of looking at uh how someone can be born of love and then turn into an object of hatred, and how another person can be can come from hatred and then transition into an object of love.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what that's saying, but I really dig it.
I think
Yeah.
I think she was upset at the person that was torturing her, making
Yeah.
her go through all those like woes and anguish inside a prison.
Mhm.
But she still loved her son
Yeah.
regardless of what he's done and done to her. And the twins, though, obviously bad circumstances had led to their birth, but they are still out of love in that she still has love for her son.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember actually. At what point did you find out it was him again? Did we talk about this already?
At one point, did
Did
sorry,
she
what?
find out Did she find out in prison that he was her son?
No,
She never knew.
she never knew until she was in the pool. She comes up,
Oh,
she sees the foot with the 3 dots, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's my son." She comes up, she taps him on the shoulder to get his attention. He
Yeah.
turns around and she's like, "Oh, you're the fucking torturer." And then
That's when
her mind fucking breaks.
yep. That's when you see her 1,000-yard stare in the
Yes.
intro of
Well-
the movie.
Yeah.
Well, not only that he was the torturer, but also the son, because she knew her son had that tattoo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously when she stands up and he's standing there and sees his face, that not only are you my son, but you're also that dude that
the father of your own siblings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
that's a lot to handle.
What's funny about this type of concept of a movie,
Yeah.
you don't see in these type of movies often.
What do you
These are
mean?
more like those weird horror type things. Oh, you're the product of rape
Oh,
or
yeah.
torture.
Yeah.
It's like one of those very weird independent snuff type
they
movies.
don't really fetishize the grotesqueness
No.
of it.
And that's not what they're trying to
Yeah.
go for, obviously.
And I want to, like, I know we talked about it already, but like the way they did the rape scene,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was number one very disturbing, but also very. I have never. It's really weird for these words to come out of my mouth, but I've never seen a rape scene done like that. Because what happens is, Abu Tariq comes into the cell. She's sitting in the chair, like
Mm-hmm.
in expectant fear of like what this torture is gonna do to her, and then he just kind of like walks around her, and the next scene, it does a sharp cut, and it's Abu Tariq, and he's taking his jacket and he's walking out the cell,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, wait, what just happened? And he's walking out, and he's like, now can you sing? Or like he says something like that because she sings as protest.
Yeah, the girl, is it the woman that sings?
Yeah. And then what you see after that is Nawal on the ground, like struggling to put her pants back on, obviously violated. Like, I've never seen, because like normally when you think of a rape scene, you think of the event.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw, what's that movie? The Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, sword, medieval, fucking
Last Duel.
Last Duel. I just saw the Last Duel, and like they show the rape. Like they show the rape twice. But
I haven't seen it yet, but
yeah. I'm not spoiling anything. Like we all know.
spoilers don't bother me as long as there's not twists like the ones
Okay.
we have previously talked about.
Last Duel is a great flick. You guys should check it out. Anyway, but yeah, the way that was done, like it was very like stark and original. I felt, and that's another thing that's kind of seared in my brain, like that image of Nawal on the ground, like completely humiliated,
Mm-hmm.
and fucking her face is like digging into the ground, and she's like crying, and her hands are bound, and she's like not successfully trying to put her pants back on. Like that's so fucking awful. Yeah, this there's a lot of like images like that from this movie that are really hard to forget.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so
Those always have bothered me in movies, but it's something that feels it's like a necessary thing to put in to get your point across. It,
yeah, you can't leave it
obviously,
out.
it's a terrible thing, but it's like something that you can't just pretend that type of situation issues don't exist. in the
They
world.
have to address it so that the audience can contend with it. Because to leave it out is also irresponsible.
It is, acting as if, oh, this, even in this imperfect world, you think there's some sort of perfection where at least that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
where you can mass genocides and the killing of children, but you won't access this very thing that happens unfortunately in the world, especially in time of war.
Exactly.
Mm.
I think we talked a decent amount about the plot. What do you guys think of like the acting?
So given, I think it was really hard to understand acting because I am not proficient nor understand a lick of French.
Okay.
So now understanding tone,
Mhm.
undertone, and overall, emotion, It's
Like facial features,
facial features with the words.
body movement.
I'm talking about, I guess saying just the way, say if I were to say, you, me, anger, you can understand it because of my language. Now there's that barrier between me. I understand what I'm reading here,
Yeah.
but if I were to understand the language like fluently, I feel as though I would have a better understanding of their acting. But that's just words. Now when it comes down to body language, I think it was very good. So I really can't have an opinion on the words, but
I think
do
I know
know-
I disagree. I think like you don't need to necessarily have a full grasp of the language to
I agree. That's just me personally.
okay.
I know how some other people can get it, and
Yeah.
I can sometimes. It
Uh-huh.
really depends on how much they're throwing in there,
Okay.
emotionally wise. Like
Yeah.
the emotions itself can actually overthrow anything else.
Mm.
Whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, joy, fear, all those different emotions. But then there's a body language
Mm.
aspect. But that's me personally. You guys, I'm done.
Gotcha.
I'm done.
I thought it was well. I think everyone used their emotions pretty well in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
From like small supporting characters and the main, I get not protagonists, but the main characters. Just like the what's his name?
What, the
Oh
brother?
man, not the brother.
Abatarik? The warlord? The notary?
The notary. There you
notary.
go. Jeez.
I can't remember the notary's name actually.
Me neither. Yeah.
I don't think
he's not important.
really actually is not important.
He is a tool.
Yeah, but I thought he, for as little as his role was, I thought he did a pretty great job in the movie.
He was very professional. My mom's calling. I'm gonna ignore her. I feel like most of the heavy lifting was done by Noel and Jean.
Yes.
Simon definitely took a back seat because he didn't really join the initial trip.
He didn't really want to do this in the first place. I think that's
Yeah.
what they're.
He was
like,
pretty upset for most of the movie.
He like shows up like 3/4 of the
Mhm.
way later.
If you think about it, I feel as though they'd be better off not knowing and doing what he wanted to do in the first place. Just let's leave it at where it's at, because now you will learn the most fucked up
Yeah.
we'll ever know in our
Like,
entire lives.
can you imagine the therapy that you'd need? Like, I have a brother, dad. That
that-
statement is.
I think
If you call your dad bro, is that okay?
I think that's something that I don't even know if therapy can really help.
Seriously,
To be-
it
yeah,
feels like something that
I think therapy would definitely have positive impacts, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it ever.
Well, I mean, there are. I can think of one doctor at least that you just go to Doctor Strange, be like, hey,
reverse.
I want to forget all this shit.
Or can you just make that whole
You
thing
know,
never happen in the first place?
what you did for Spider-Man, where you made everyone forget, just make me forget.
See, I won't bring any lizards or octopuses back. No, nor electric people, fish,
Yeah.
eels. Actually, think about, they're all weird. They're all those villains are animal based.
Mm.
I digress.
Yeah. What else? What else do we want to hit with this one? Oh wait, no. There's one thing I wanted to ask you guys about this. Again, I have a lot of questions about things in the movie that I think might mean something, but I don't know what they mean. And specifically, like there is an emphasis on mathematics and equations in this movie, and it happens 3 times. Obviously, the main one that we all remember is 1 + 1 = 1.
Right.
But before that, like they talk about math twice.
I think so. Gene is a teacher's assistant
Oh yes.
for
Yes.
I think a college
Yeah,
in
Some
Canada.
college, yeah. Some
Yeah,
Canadian.
Some college in Canada.
Canada.
yeah, Canada
Canada.
school,
Canada.
Canada.
Spoken.
Canada.
And I didn't notice it, obviously, the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I definitely noticed it. When they introduce her as a teacher's assistant, a mathematics teacher's assistant, she is a mathematician. The shot is just of her face, and like the classroom is you can clearly tell it's a classroom, that she's in a classroom setting. And there's a professor speaking. You don't see the professor, you just see Jean's face. And the professor is saying, like, he's basically saying this class is hard as shit. And like you're gonna find equations that you're not gonna know the answer to, and you're gonna think you're gonna know the answer to these equations, but you're gonna be fucking lost.
Everything you know is wrong.
Yeah, and like your friends are gonna tell you that like this class is impossible and you should give up, and you just need to fucking push through and see where this class takes you with these crazy ass equations.
Congratulations, you're paying for nothing.
And then like, obviously, like the first time watching, you don't really realize the significance of that. Second time watching, I realized he's talking about the movie. He's talking about this crazy fucking equation, 1 + 1 = 1, and how it's gonna destroy your entire world. And I didn't pick up on it.
Every movie gives up the plot within the first 10 minutes.
That's
Every
true.
movie.
Yeah.
If you can't pick out the foreshadowing, that means the movie's for you. To be honest, that's true. I mean, you have movies that
Yeah.
you already know. If you know exactly immediately, just from first time watching the movie, you know what's going to happen.
They did that.
Then don't watch the movie.
They
because
did
you
that,
already know.
Fuck, I forgot the name of the movie already. Fucking Bradley Cooper. Fucking
Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley. They did that in Nightmare Alley.
Yeah,
Right out the rip. They said, "Fucking geek."
geek.
Geek.
How
You
does one
shall-
become a geek?
You
How do
shall geek. You are geek.
Thou shalt geekin.
This is how geek is geeked. And then at the end of the movie, fucking geek, dude.
I really don't want to be that.
Becomes
He's
that.
like, damn, wow, that's what you do to people here? Maybe I should take my business some other place.
Yeah. Instead, Bradley Cooper's like, sign me up, bub.
I could just sell cars next time. I can sell people, their own watch to them. Maybe I
Yeah.
can sell a fucking car. There were cars, right? Yeah, there were.
The second time they talk about equations is when she travels to Lebanon to meet up with her professor's friend in Lebanon, who is also a professor. And then she goes to that school, and the professor's like, I don't know anything. I wasn't even here during that. He was like, I was in Paris.
Oh
during that
yeah.
time."
He's like, I don't remember you.
And then he just starts talking about like this other famous mathematician and how he challenged like Diderot or whatever. And like he said, and then he came to the amazing like conclusion that like E = something plus whatever is 0. Therefore, God exists.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
And I'm like,
Therefore,
what are we doing here? Like what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like
I was confused by that too. Also, when I was watching the movie,
Yeah.
I was very tired.
ah
And maybe a lot of things flew over my head because of that. So
the movie
I would have caught it.
The
I
movie
definitely
takes its time, and like I said, on second viewing, I think there are a couple moments where it hurts the movie. The fact that it takes so much time with certain scenes that I don't think are as important. Like for example, like in the beginning where they find out about their mother and like her will and these 2 letters, they walk out of the notary's building
Mm-hmm.
and they just kind of like stand in the street and they're just talking, and I'm like, second time watching, I'm like, this is this really necessary? Like, this is not interesting.
So I honestly think that I don't know if this was his intention
yeah,
making this movie, but it's so long and drawn out, and that might be the whole purpose to make you feel like, man, this whole like ordeal was like long and drawn out,
okay,
and I feel tired not only for the characters but also myself. Like, obviously, I didn't have to go through what they went through, but
It makes you
it's
feel.
it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
and do you think maybe like the fact that it's a slow burn? Do you think it kind of cushions the shock? Like maybe that was part of the intention there.
It probably
Yeah.
gives you a little bit of time to
Process.
and empathize with those characters.
Maybe that's why they don't do the beginning, middle, end. They don't want a build up
Mhm.
to drop off and just drop an entire bomb on you at the end.
A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like the timeline shifts.
shifts,
I'm not talking
no.
about this movie in particular. I'm talking about movies in general.
Like Memento.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, Memento, I feel that was the whole point.
It was
though.
one of the
That
first
was-
ones.
That's an exception there.
Um,
An inception there.
Heyo.
Thank you, Nolan.
yeah. But I personally, I always like that. I like the time shift. I always fucking like that.
Keep me thinking. Keep me
Um,
thinking. I need more answers.
I like the fact that like moments in time are puzzle pieces, and like I enjoy figuring out, oh, when does this take place? How does
Mhm.
that like play into that? Like what? How is this puzzle? How is this puzzle going to be completed?
Mhm.
I enjoy that personally.
And that's
However-
currently what they're doing with the MCU right now. Just saying that out loud.
What do you mean?
Everything, all the new shows that come in. One show comes out a couple months before and then after, but say
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
Eternals
okay, yeah,
happens
yeah.
technically before
Yeah.
Captain America and Winter Soldier, but
I mean, I feel like with that's different because like there's no mystery.
yeah, no,
They tell you straight up.
that's true. But I'm just saying that's what they have been doing.
But like
maybe in the same, not the same context though. No,
I think people who don't enjoy the timeline break apart style, like I think their main criticism of that style of plot telling is that the movie is trying to make itself more interesting by having a broken timeline style.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a shitty, I guess, costume that they put on a boring movie in a attempt to make it less boring. And I think that's why people don't like the time shifts, because they're like, why not just tell it normal? Like, what does this movie gain by being not linear?
because they believe in cause and effect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the ending here needs to have a cause. I need to know beforehand for the next scene. What the hell? Why is this happening? I need to know now.
I think they have a point, but I don't always agree with it because I personally like the time stuff.
I do too.
Yeah.
It keeps you guessing, and
Mhm.
if they're losing you for a second there and
Yeah.
they change it up, now you want to know more, so you keep watching the movie.
I think if the movie didn't have a time shift or time change,
Yeah,
I don't think I would
be,
enjoy it.
Yeah, it'd be
Mm.
dry and pretty drawn out, and
yeah.
I don't think honestly, I don't think I'd make it through it.
No.
I don't usually fall asleep,
Yeah.
during movies, but that'd be rough.
That would be. That being said, the movie was good.
Mm.
It was really good. Like we talk about Denis Villeneuve, right?
Mhm.
His style,
His style. Yeah. Go ahead.
his style. You know,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
you talk about the setup, the scenery, the
Mhm.
color
Yeah.
scheme, right? It's not monochromatic, but it's seemingly monochromatic. Like obviously monochromatic meaning using one tone,
Yeah.
but the tone of the movie stays put the entire time. It's dark,
Yeah.
but it's
He-
light.
He doesn't really like crazy, bright, vibrant.
Nope.
He's not
Mm-mm.
Guillermo del Toro.
He likes the dimness,
Yes.
but it's like a dimness that gives you some sort of like light in between. Like in
Uh-huh.
a movie, obviously we want to talk about a movie he's recently done, which was Dune.
Yes.
Exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mhm.
What did you say? Sorry.
He said
Saturated.
saturated.
Yes, saturated. The color, right?
Yeah.
Saturated. That's what he's done.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's what I felt in this movie. Not as
Uh-huh.
much, but maybe when they're more in the modern area, like when they're in Canada, that's what I saw more.
So like thinking of his other movies, like Dune, Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner is his most colorful movie.
Mhm.
But it still had the
But it's
same.
still, yeah.
Had the same
Blade
saturation.
Runner, Arrival, Prisoners, Sicario, like all these movies, like he wants to impart some sense of gravitas. And I think his use of color is also propelling that desire for gravitas, which is why we don't end up with a Guillermo del Toro style, super bright, super
Or
like,
super dark.
or super. Oh no, yeah.
It's
No, I agree. Yeah,
What you're
Maybe-
getting,
yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Heavy
yeah,
contrast
yeah, yeah,
between
yeah.
lights and darks.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this movie, the color gamut for this movie is very, very how do I put this? It's like sand.
Mhm.
Sand and gravel. And
Yeah, I think that's what
yeah.
it really depicts the setting here, not
In-
the town.
yeah.
Really, like
In terms of framing, the movie is excellent. I think Denis, when he wants to frame a shot, he will always get an amazing shot.
Mhm.
But in terms of color, like I want more movies like Blade Runner, where the color is super interesting.
what
Um,
I felt like they're
Yeah.
they're in a constant sandstorm. You know, when he went the hotel
Yeah.
scene, there's a constant sandstorm. They're even inside the building. It feels like it's just
very
all
dark.
It's orange star, but like
Yeah.
brown. But I'm like, you still got me here. It might have been because of Harrison Ford, but
Hmm.
oh, here he is. He comes in.
But
I think
yeah.
Dave Bautista got a good role in that movie. By the way, just saying,
he
But-
was in there for like 5 seconds, but he was like, I
Really-
thought he was really
oh,
good.
fucking amazing. I thought so too.
Yeah,
Movie itself, obviously we're digressing here. The movie itself,
we can digress. It's fine.
the movie itself didn't. I felt like it didn't really do too well with people.
I loved it. Me
Oh,
personally,
Me personally too.
I loved it. But you're right.
Yeah,
America
critically speaking, and-
did not choose this movie with their wallets.
I haven't seen either Blade Runners.
Oh wow.
That's okay.
Um,
That's okay. That really is fine. They're both. So Blade Runner itself is a movie has stood the test of time. I think. And
I-
I think it's dimming out.
I'll let you finish what you're saying.
No, I think it's dimming out to some people, and obviously because they try to make not a reboot. Technically, it is a sequel
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
to the first movie, but now that type of movie is gone from like people's sci-fi thoughts. For science fiction wise, I
No,
don't think
I-
people are looking forward to that type of movie anymore.
I disagree. I think Cyberpunk will always live on.
The movie came out in 2018.
Yes.
And it
No,
still-
2017, right? It's 2017.
Even worse, what I mean by that is that it's been almost 5 years and it's definitely is built up for a sequel. It hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
It is not built up for a sequel.
What are you talking about?
No. What?
I said what first? So you
Blade
answered-
Runner 2049 built up for a sequel?
Oh, you're saying that you have any more questions when it came to Mr. Jared Leto's character in the movie?
No, I believe the movie very clearly is over. And
Mm.
it had I think putting a sequel to Blade Runner 2049, this is crazy because like this is probably what they said of the original Blade Runner. But a sequel to Blade Runner 2049 would be blasphemous. It
How
is
dare they?
fine the way they have it. By the way, Blade Runner. When I first watched Blade Runner, I failed to see what the hype was about
Mm-hmm.
personally. But I believe that's because I watched the version with Harrison Ford's voiceover, which is super dreary and like he sounds so bored in the voiceover. And the voiceovers throughout the entire movie. Apparently there's this other version without the voiceover where like it's a little bit more like you can actually use your brain a little bit and
Mhm.
you're not put to sleep by Harrison Ford's voice. And I looked this up. Harrison Ford, he phoned it in for that voiceover. He
Mhm.
didn't even want to do it. So he literally just like was very dryly looking at his lines and just reading it.
Pay me my money now.
Yes, exactly. And that's the version that they fucking put in theaters, which was why the original Blade Runner also was a box office flop.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from Blade Runner culturally is it introduced this idea. Maybe introduce is not the right word, but it brought to a broad audience this whole cyberpunk
Yeah.
fucking feel. Like this dirty, like high tech, grungy, but
Mhm.
also like very colorful, super cynical, dark, rainy,
Seemingly dystopian is essentially.
dystopian, multicultural, fucking future
Yeah.
with AI and shit. Which is we obviously clearly are familiar with like the whole cyberpunk genre now. There's a whole game that came out based off it. But yeah, it was essentially birthed by Blade Runner. I'm sure someone out there would disagree with me with that, but I feel like Blade Runner is one of the most earliest, like, big representations of the cyberpunk genre.
Both the original and the sequel
Mm-hmm.
are on my watch list. They've been on my watch list for a while now. I'm a big fan of Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
I love Ryan Gosling and most things. I just haven't got around to it.
It is worth watch.
I
It is.
I would personally say temper your expectations
Mhm.
for Blade Runner 1. I think Blade Runner 2 is superior.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Because they're trying to go for the same concept, but with
Mhm.
better technology here.
But I don't think you will not get as much enjoyment out of Blade Runner 2049 without watching the original.
Mhm.
There's some things in the original that Easter egg their way
Yeah.
into, and it adds to the film, in my opinion. I'm curious to see like what else Denis will do in the future.
Well, obviously we have 2 more movies
Dune
coming out.
He has the
Dune 2
Part
and 3.
Part 2.
Part 3.
This is a 3-part series. I could have sworn I read on in his bio for his movies.
I've
Obviously part 2 is coming up. It's
Yeah,
they're writing right now,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a 3rd movie as well.
Interesting.
If the second one does well.
Yeah. Well, I mean
The
they're not
first
going to
one
just leave
did
the
so
3rd.
well. There's no way the second one's not going to do well.
As long as they just started writing.
Oh.
Also, they just started writing, not
It
production.
might be a minute.
It might be 23. 23 is its scheduled release anyway.
All right. Well, okay. Something to look forward to then. All right. Regarding the movie that the Incendies, I don't know what else to say. We covered a lot. You guys got anything?
No. I think we did. We covered exactly what you want to hear for this movie, especially if we already explained the twist here.
Uh-huh.
Hoping other people who were listening to this has already seen the movie.
Oh, I do want to say one thing about this movie. This movie was recommended to me by a friend of mine from home, Stephen Kim, and he recommended I watch this movie all the way back in like 2013, 2014. And I put it off for like 5 years. And not only did I put it off, but I started and stopped this movie at least twice. And it was on the 3rd attempt that I actually buckled down and finished it. And this is my official apology to Steven. I'm sorry. I should have watched this when you first told me to watch it. This movie is amazing.
I actually would not have known of this movie if it wasn't for Eugene here anyway.
Oh, yes. There you go, Steven. You've inspired 2 people.
Thank you, Stephen.
And 3 people.
And hopefully a lot more.
Let's go around and say like let's give our own I guess rating whatnot about this one. I could start. Obviously, I am a big fan of this movie. I really like the feel and the way that the quote unquote twists present themselves. They heavily impacted me emotionally in the moment. And there are scenes in this movie that are seared into my brain forever. That's a testament to the writing. It's a testament to the acting, to the camera work. It's great. I give this a 9 out of 10.
I think all around cast did a phenomenal job. Nawal's character extremely powerful throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gene's character extremely just emotional. My overall rating for this would probably be an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid all around.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. Sorry, I'm agreeing with your 8 out of 10,
Mhm.
but my view is different here, actually.
Okay.
So, well, I will give you in a second. So, here I am being awkward already.
No, you're good. You're good. Gather your thoughts.
I'm gathering my thoughts. My apologies.
Yeah.
So, the movie itself, like we talked about, the timeline issue, that might be an issue to other people, not an issue to me or you.
Yeah.
I like that. I actually prefer that for this type of movie. Obviously, your basic action movie, you want a beginning, middle, end.
Uh-huh.
You don't want timeline differences, or else your mind's gonna be like wandering. You're gonna be a mouth breather at the end of the movie. Honestly,
Okay.
using words that we can all understand. But at the end of the day, I like that. Obviously, we talk about Denis Villeneuve's his aspect, his cinematography,
Yeah.
right? The way he chooses color
Mhm.
and just the chromatic itself. I love that. So whenever he does a movie, I just like it because of the color mostly. Because it's like I'm in a painting.
Hmm.
His own. That's what it is. A depiction of his own paintings. Acting. When it comes to body language, high regards. I loved it because just you felt fear for everybody the entire time. Fear, sadness, anger, just everything that came up. I felt that.
Uh-huh.
I did. We already talked about my idea of voice when it came to voice and acting and the motion through just the words.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it because that's just my problem. I can't say about anybody else. Obviously, you said opposite. But body language, I loved. So overall, the movie I give an 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah. So I would assume would give our average here an 8.5.
What is that math?
I think it's just an 8.5. I'm not a mathematician, but if we're getting the average in between, it's literally coming in between the 8.5.
All right, sounds good to me. Overall, Brenna Flick score 8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
So talking about next week, I believe Zach has our next movie for next week.
Yes. So the movie I chose for next week is another Guillermo del Toro favorite of mine.
I have not seen this one.
It is Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth can be described as the Spanish Alice in Wonderland, but with a very dark tone to it. I will say, given that it is a Guillermo del Toro film. So I will say the summary of the movie, if we want to talk about this right now, is it's 1944, and the Allies have invaded Nazi-held Europe in Spain. A troop of soldiers are sent to a remote forest to flush out the rebels. They are led by Captain Vidal, a murdering sadist, and with him are his new wife, Carmen, and her daughter from a previous marriage, 11-year-old Ophelia. Ophelia witnessed her stepfather's sadistic brutality and is drawn into Pan's Labyrinth, a magical world of mythical beings. So this movie, essentially, from its own standpoint, is a war-driven, actual Spaniard type Alice in Wonderland, and it's a really good movie.
Sweet.
It came out, I believe, in 2006.
I know
Yes.
I know the movie is well regarded.
It's great.
I've heard so many good things about this movie.
It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's a 98% on Metacritic. IMDb 8.2. So honestly, the movie itself also is in Spanish. So just like the last movie we saw was in French, this is in Spanish.
I have zero issues with subtitles.
Oh, of course not. Me neither. But the imagery is something to be seen. It's like you're watching.
Well, I mean, Guillermo, he always has very interesting visuals.
Yes. Well, if you think about it, like the cinematography I'm looking at
Yeah.
is a mixture of Nightmare Alley and Hellboy.
Okay, yeah.
I'd say that if you're looking at the camera,
It's
the
one of his
color,
earlier films too, right?
2006.
Is this the movie that kind of put him on the map, or was there like another movie that was like, as big?
I know he did more movies in the 90s. I think we can talk about movies that put him on the map. Really, I think what put him on the map
I feel like
was
this
Hellboy.
It was Hellboy, yeah.
Oh, really?
Hellboy was 2004.
If you want to think Blade 2.
And Blade also.
Oh, what the heck?
Blade
He did
2.
Blade?
But I don't feel as though
What?
Blade put him on the map, though.
He did Blade?
He did. I think we
That's
talked about
weird. Wait, he did Blade 1 and Blade 2?
No, just the
just
second
two.
one.
Ah,
two.
okay. All right.
And then he dropped off because he did better things because Blade Trinity was terrible. And it's not, obviously it's not what's his name's fault.
I don't think I've seen Blade 3.
Yeah, Blade 2. I think Blade 2 is like his.
Hey,
first
apparently
big hit.
Blade's MCU now.
Yeah,
He's always been
he was a post-credit scene for
Yeah.
the Eternals. Technically,
I thought that
you know,
was so weird.
yeah. He just you hear his voice. Isn't that weird? No one would know though. I didn't know. I had to.
I had to look it up.
Like what? Where's this going?
Yeah.
Exactly. Where's this going?
And
I don't wanna talk
who's that?
about it.
That's was that Jon Snow or was that?
Uh,
No, it was fucking Rob Stark, right? Rob Stark.
No, it's Jon
No.
Snow.
Oh, it's Jon Snow.
Rob
Okay.
Stark was the
Rob Stark is Laser Boy.
Laser Boy.
Laser Boy.
He's Superman.
Icarus.
Yeah, Icarus.
Icarus. He's a
Yeah.
Superman. Okay, so that is it. The movie is
Cool.
for next week. It will be Pan's Labyrinth by
Pan's Lab-
Guillermo del Toro.
Sick.
Cool. And I believe we might have a special guest. I'll figure out whether we are. But yeah, that's the podcast. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Flick, flick, burn, burn, burn. Flick,